terms of resilience, I know that you just have a great expertise on that. Help our audience and our parents and players understand what we mean by that. What do we mean when you say resilience?
So resiliency is really now the big word on what we need to help with our kids. And resiliency, I think, was a term that was used a lot with trauma, with how to help people work through trauma and adversity. But it also is that word that we use with like grit, right? And so I do a lot of speaking on resiliency. It's something that my clinicians, we really work on those foundational components of resiliency, and character building is one of them, right? We want kids to be able to be grounded in that sense of self. Who am I and what's my purpose? And then the other areas, which is having healthy connections and communication and contribution. Like, what is it that you bring to the table or to your team and to your family and to your community that help you feel good in who you are as a person? So there's these building blocks of fundamentals that we need to work on building with our kids, especially with today, with the pressure.
Our world has changed over the last 14 months, 12 months. COVID, schools, things have changed. Resiliency touches on all of these things that can help kids. What are some of those key elements of resiliency?
Some of the key elements I feel that we really need to look at is that character building or grit that we talk about. Also those healthy connections that go with character building, and the contribution that our children are learning to be able to give back, and learning how to build that healthy balance for kids and parents to help them navigate the changes that they're experiencing today, because there's a lot of changes.
We can all continue to learn. These are skills. These are not innate abilities that just come from the ether. They are things that we learn.
Oh gosh, yes, that's the one thing about resiliency. It's like, here's the great news. It's you can learn that it's like, oh, my kid's a senior, oh well, forget it. No, this is stuff that you could put in place. Us as adults can learn, right? There's never too late for us to look at ourselves and say, where in this area do I feel like I need more support and help and education on? And there's so many resources. There's lots of treatment modalities that will help kids at any age and adults be able to change that, maybe stinking thinking and negative Nancy's in your head, and that drive you in that negative place. And that's the biggest thing I think for parents to understand, is that getting help doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong or that your kids or there's something wrong. It's actually strength and character building, because they're going to learn, and so are you, skills to be able to help them. There's lots of pressure with sports and with school, and I mean, imagine IB, AP classes and all of these things that I am clueless of, that I just hear about and are educated now with our kids, and how much making the grade or being number one is so important. Whereas I feel like there's so much more than that. And that's where we need to help teach kids. But I truly believe that starts with parents, and who the parents put in front of their kids to help them. So the role models that they use to help them get those tools, which is why I'm so committed and love what you're doing, is because with Player First, it's all about really looking at the player and the needs, and educating coaches and those people that are really important. If you think about trauma or with anxiety, a lot of the kids that we see, or even adults, they will go back to a memory of maybe something that really they struggled with was because of a situation when they were younger, that they were told they couldn't do something or that they weren't good enough. So therefore, then they didn't get out of their box and push themselves through that resiliency because they didn't feel that they were good enough. And that's something that I really am helping with, educating with my talks with resiliency, and what your program is offering to really help families and kids be able to find tools to be able to work through those tough times like today. I give a lot of credit for a lot of our kids and families who are just pushing through this really tough time.